Hi guys, and welcome back to another review, and today I'll be tackling the brand new release, which actually came out a while back, but it's still their latest release from the Danish band Cabal and the album Drag Me Down. Stay tuned. Cabal is a Danish band from Copenhagen, and this is their second full-length release. The first one was back in 2018 called Mark of Rot, which was, in my opinion, like a really good album, combining a lot of black metal, death metal, gent, and had some great features, one of them being Phil from Humanity's Last Breath. And just on that topic as well, if you're a person who actually likes Humanity's Last Breath, you'll probably like this band as well. Also, if you're into the other band known as Black Tongue. My first experience with Cabal was actually back in 2018 as well, when my friend showed me the track Purge. Which was off their first real EP. And I was blown away. I've never heard something so heavy, and it was a heaviness that could only be really compared to such bands as like Humanity's Last Breath. And pretty much from then on, I was sold. Got to see them that year as well when I went to Germany to see them at Euroblast, and it was an amazing show. The room was completely pitch black, and on stage it was just haze and smoke, very demonic, sending chills down your spine. It was an amazing gig. Over the years, you know, they've only developed this sound, and now we have this new album, which is taking that sort of black metal, death metal vibe and really pushing it to the next level. To jump into this album, I must say they do not waste any time with sort of any build up into the music. They just go straight forward in their opening track, Gift Giver, which immediately hammers the heaviness straight away. I quite liked the track. I thought it was a really cool opening track. And of course, I always consider opening tracks to be sort of overture in a weird way to the album, and this did it perfectly. Moments in it that definitely were more inspired by, say, hardcore. Definitely, of course, they use a lot of those black metal elements as well with their gent style. As much as Cabal tend to focus more on the thal sort of breakdown, down-tempo sort of feel, there's moments on the album where they bring in a lot of atmosphere due to the fact they do get a huge influence from black metal. An example in that can be seen in the song It Haunts Me, where they have featured guest vocalist Kim from Mull, who brings his own sort of element into it and really bolsters the sort of atmosphere in the track. And also they do have a lot of atmospheric black metal elements throughout the entire album, which does help to sort of break up the sort of 110% breakdown moments. It gives a sense of sort of despair, depression, but in a way that is very fitting for the style of music. Moving on, I'll talk about the first single they actually put out for this album, and that is Tongues, which is definitely sort of a mosh pit track. It goes straight in. It has really interesting sort of atmospheric touch in the background when you hear it from the intro that does give that sort of like horror-esque sort of vibe to it. Pretty much throughout the entire song, it has that really nice groove to it that's actually reminding me a lot of Meshuggah's song Born of Dissonance. Of course, it has a great build-up to a pretty insane breakdown, which I can see a lot of people dying to. So that I thought was really cool. And I also did quite like the music video showing them what kind of band they are as a live band, and they have a lot of presence on stage, and they really are able to get the crowd going. Another track I want to talk about, which slowly almost became sort of my most favorite track, is the song Bitter Friend, which features Matt Hiffy. And initially, when I saw it on paper, I thought this is sort of feature I didn't think that would work. And on the first listen, I thought it was a bit like, huh? But then over time, it grew on me, and in a way, it became almost my favorite track on the album, because what I noticed was the sort of dynamic dialogue between Matt Hiffy and Andreas from Cabal that was quite interesting. It's a lot better than I've seen some features done in the past, where they just give a small section to the guest vocalist and then it goes back to the normal sort of sound. Well, in this one, they gave that small section to the featured vocalist, but then he also came back when he was doing a back and forth thing with the main vocalist of Cabal. And yeah, it was actually definitely one of the songs that grew on me a lot. And also, I'd like to talk about the track Death March, which shows that the band can create catchy tracks that can become instantaneously memorable to anyone listening to it. And with Death March, it's done just that. It's got the ridiculously groovy beat, and it's got a simple enough chorus that pretty much anybody can remember. Yeah, I really like that, because usually I don't like tracks like this. Again, throughout the record, it does give sort of a nice dynamic shift that is necessary for when you're doing ridiculously heavy music. Yeah, and overall I did really like that track as well. So overall, my thoughts about this album is, I think it's really impressive. The hype is definitely real. It was a long time coming, and they definitely paid off. It sounds raw, it sounds heavy, it sounds gnarly, and somehow they were successfully able to sort of give the feel as though you are in sort of a warehouse in the middle of winter. It's so cold and so dark, and yet it still has a level of warmth there, but I'm just rambling at this point. But yeah, it was overall great album. I love the production, and it was produced, mixed and mastered by Chris Kritzfeld. I do apologize if I pronounced the second name wrong. And yeah, overall, yeah, I thought it was a great album, and I will leave the link to the Bandcamp below, as well as the Facebook for the band. And now, unfortunately, I don't really have any music suggestions for this week, but I can say one thing, and that is I'd say people should check out this band called Beneath the Massacre, which is a band I've pretty much been obsessing over since I heard them for the first time, because they put out an album earlier this year, and in my opinion it's probably one of the heaviest albums I've ever heard in my life, combining insane breakdowns with like ridiculous technical death metal feats that are reminiscent of like Archspire or Origin. So I'd say go check them out, but besides that, that's really the main suggestion I have for this week. And that is it from me. Hope you enjoyed watching. Leave a like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video. If you've got any suggestions for albums that maybe you'd like me to talk about, and leave that in the description, as well as I've started reacting to music videos and like new music that comes out, so let me know if there's anything you want me to particularly react to and get my opinion on. But besides that, yes, thank you for watching as always, and stay safe during these dark times, and I will see you soon.